At Optavia, our mission is to offer the world lifelong transformation, one healthy habit at a time. The following audio contains the personal testimonials of independent coaches and clients within the Optavia community. Their results are based on the unique experiences of their journey. We cannot guarantee like or similar outcomes. We hope these stories inspire you to continue your journey with or join Optavia, but please note they have not been verified and your individual journey to optimal health will vary. As always, it is our recommendation that you speak with a healthcare provider in the US or a doctor in Singapore and Hong Kong prior to beginning your journey with Optavia. Additionally, this audio may contain income or earning representations of some independent Optavia coaches. We cannot guarantee financial success. Success with Optavia is derived from successful sales efforts, which require hard work, diligence, skill, persistence, competence, and leadership. Optavia acknowledges that this audio may be accessible to Optavia coaches in the US, Hong Kong, and Singapore. For independent Optavia coaches operating in the US, please see the Optavia Income Disclosure Statement for statistics on actual earnings of US coaches under the US Compensation Plan. Please note that the Income Disclosure Statement only applies to independent Optavia coaches operating in the US under the US Compensation Plan and does not in any way constitute any representations as to actual or potential accrual of benefits for Hong Kong or Singapore coaches under the International Compensation Plan. Yours in Health, the Optavia team.
Welcome everyone to the Habits of Health Community Time. I'm Amber Smithson, certified Optavia coach. We're so glad that you are with us tonight. We are going to be talking a little bit about your Lifebook Element 4, and it's all about building a healthy mindset. And I absolutely love this element because it really gives us a chance to focus on the things that help our mindset move forward. Because what we found is if you work on your healthy body and you don't work on your healthy mind, then what's going to happen is your mind is going to pull you back to where it thinks you should be. And like I said, I'm Amber Smithson. My husband Jared and I have been coaching with Optavia for 11 years now. We have 3 amazing kids. And my story, just a little bit about me, is when I started with Optavia, I was actually already at a healthy weight. I had lost my weight before I found this amazing program, but I was looking for something that was really going to help me maintain my healthy body. And also I was struggling with the healthy mindset portion and healthy finances. We'll go over a little bit of that later, but Optavia has really given my family such a huge blessing of being able to find those tools and a community of people who all say, you know what, let's get better together, let's move forward. We're not perfect, but how about we just help each other out? So our agenda tonight, a little bit about mindset, identifying thoughts that don't serve our health goals, skill set, understanding the drama triangle and empowerment triangle, one of my favorites. Just for the record, this is my favorite element in the life book. And the action steps that go along with it, adopting a growth mindset for success. So let's just let's launch our first poll. Which answer best describes you? Are you an Optavia coach, an Optavia client, or a guest? We just like to see who's on, who's joining us tonight, and we'll just give you another quick minute to answer that. And while we're putting in our votes, or just really, this is just kind of demographic stuff, I want you guys to start thinking about what's something in your life right now, what's a circumstance that's been holding you back, maybe a drama that's been happening in your life, or something that just has kind of triggered you lately or is frustrating, something along those lines. I want you to start thinking about something going on in your life that is around that. Okay, so let's go ahead, finish up your answers, and we will keep on going. Okay. And if you don't have your Habits of Health transformational system yet, maybe you're brand new, or maybe you are just looking into this amazing program, then talk to the coach who invited you and be sure to grab yourself a copy, because this system is really going to help you move forward and create that long-term optimal health and well-being in your life that you're really wanting. So just a little summary. In this element, we're going to understand how the people, places, and things in your surroundings can be modified to serve you in creating your new story. Realize the power and importance of self-awareness, and give you some tools for building a healthy mindset. So I'm excited. Let's start with a quote from Dr. A. I actually love this quote. I love Dr. A. So he says, "My goal is for you to become the dominant force in your life. When you have internal stability and external equilibrium, each day of your life will become all out magical. You will possess a habit that most have never even thought about." Okay, I love this quote. There's several words that really stick out to me. Dominant force. Those were the first two that really stick out to me. Because Brittany said in the chat, I want magical. And, it's so interesting to think about that, because a lot of times we just feel like the world is happening to us. And what if it's time for you to become the dominant force in your life? Don't you agree? It's time. Dominique in the chat says, yes, I want control. Okay, so let me ask you a question. Who is responsible for your current health and well-being? What do you think? Who's responsible? A lot of times, people will talk about my genetics are a certain way, and I grew up in a family that was a certain way. Someone said, my teenagers, just kidding. I have 3 teenagers myself, so I get it. But when it comes down to it, bottom line, as Dr. A likes to say, bottom line is you are responsible for your current health and well-being. And I was on a call earlier, and we were talking about this concept that being responsible for your current health and well-being. And it's interesting just to think about that, because there's so many different factors in life, right? But when it boils down to who's responsible, in the end, it's you. And you have those choices to make. You might think of, I have all this food around me, or people are saying things to me, or my husband brought home donuts, or whatever it may be. But in the end, when we become the dominant force in our lives, it's amazing how much more ease that we feel in our life. So I just wanted to throw that out to you, is just start thinking, am I the dominant force? So let's do a poll. Let's see, this is a little poll about how much drama that you're having. How do I respond when presented with a challenge? Okay, maybe you find yourself getting upset most of the time. The second option is, I usually shy away from it, hope someone else will take care of it. You like to avoid it maybe. Number 3, I find myself making excuses. Oh, we've all been there, right? Number 4, I look to see what I can learn. So all 4 of these answered, probably you have been in all 4 of these when it comes down to it. But I want you to choose the one that is probably the knee-jerk reaction, probably the first option that you tend to go towards in your life. So I'm going to give you just a couple more seconds there to finish voting. And while you're finishing the vote, I'm going to bring on a friend, a fellow Optavia coach, and I would love, Kat Fuller, if you would share a little bit about your story.
Hi, I'm super excited to be here tonight, and this is my favorite topic, so I love when Amber asks me to share with her. I jumped in and started a diet at the time, and that's all I wanted. I just wanted to lose weight, and I thought I had nutrition, I thought I had the mindset, I thought I had everything figured out, and within about 2 weeks, I realized I didn't have it figured out at all, and I had so much to learn. And over the time that I was able to, as you saw in my before and after picture, I lost weight, and that was fantastic. And I did feel great, But really, the big change came for me with the mindset shift and just becoming that dominant force in my life, running away from something like weight. Like Dr. A always says, you know, we need to create the life we want rather than running away from the health dangers or risks or problems that we have. And I started running away from this number I didn't want to be anymore. And I learned really quickly that it was more about becoming the best version of myself and becoming the dominant force in my life. I realized I was letting things happen to me a lot. And I'm really excited to share, if we want to go to the next slide, a little bit about what I learned and how we can become the dominant force in our lives. So we have this line that we like to teach about above and below the line. And this little diagram is the most important model for someone who wants to be a conscious leader and go out and create the best life they can live. And I know that sounds silly that it's just a simple line, but I want you to look at this diagram and see, like, when you're above the line, you're in a growth mindset. You're open, you're curious, you're willing to learn, you're looking for the lesson in what's going on in your life. When you're below the line, you're closed and defensive and in what we call a fixed mindset. And that's when, here's a really quick, just kind of way to find out where you are, is if you feel like you need to prove yourself to someone or prove that what you're saying is right, that's a really good key for you to know that you're in that place of being defensive, closed, or fixed. And that was where I started. And I learned really quickly that there was so much more available if I was willing to accept the opposite of what I thought was true. I didn't have nutrition figured out. I didn't have the mindset figured out. And I had so much to learn. And I've been so grateful to look into this and learn about it. It's a binary model, this model. You're either above the line or below the line. And it's really, really easy for us to, what we call, drift below the line. I think most of us here, we want to live in that growth mindset space. So we can agree that we prefer to play above the line. But it's really natural and normal for us to go below the line. And a lot of wisdom happens in both places. This is all about the now. This isn't a judgment. There's no right or wrong, but it's a skill that we can learn with our minds to locate ourselves. And really just stop right now and think to yourself, are you open? Are you willing? Are you ready to grow? Are you ready to learn? Are you ready to accept that maybe you don't know everything? Because the minute I started accepting that, the world just opened up for me. And I can't imagine what my life would be like without this now. So think for yourself, where am I in that space? And if you're like, I'm pretty closed, and you can tell by how you're sitting or how you're feeling, and if you feel a little bit defensive or you want to be right or those things, accept where you are. It's okay where you are. And I love that someone said in the chat, I know I don't know. And that's exactly how I feel every day. It's mindset, as in our mind. There's a typo in the book. Yes, it's true. We found one of the typos in the life book. I noticed that too. And that is, hey, it's spelled wrong, but guess what? It's a word can be above the line and accept that maybe it is mindset. Anyway, this is a really powerful model in your life as you start to look at what you want to create rather than what you're running away from. Just kind of practice this model. Where am I? Can I accept where I am? Do I want to change it? And am I willing to change it? Or do I want to stay in that space? Sometimes we want to stay in that closed defensive space for a little bit. And we're going to talk a little bit more about some of that stuff. But this is such a powerful, powerful model in our lives that as we learn to accept where we are in the present moment, that we can go out and create whatever reality we want in our lives and change our futures.
Awesome, Kat. Okay, I love that. How about we share the results of the poll? Because I think it goes right along with everything Kat was talking about. So how do I respond when presented with a challenge? So 20% of you said, I find myself getting upset most of the time. Totally normal, right? We fall below the line. 16% of you, I usually shy away from it and hope someone else will take care of it. Okay, we're going to talk about this one in a little bit too. The third one, 15% of you said, I find myself making excuses. And then almost half of you said, I look to see what I can learn. So I think all of us are really looking to improve and grow and work on these mindsets. And so that's a good thing.
Amber, I love that almost half of the people were in that space of playing above the line and open and curious. That's really cool.
Yeah, I love that. So let's talk a little bit about drama. The drama triangle. Okay, so there's the victim at the top of the drama triangle. And this is where if you find yourself saying things like, it's so hard, or I have to lose weight. It's not fair. Why me? It's where we're at the effect of, or things are being done to us. Here's a good one that we hear. My cousin, Tommy, he can eat whatever he wants and not gain a pound. It's so funny, like when we're in this victim mentality. So the victim mentality in the drama triangle, this is below the line. All three of these, victim, villain, and hero, that we're going to go over. So the villain portion of the drama triangle, this is where it's like, you're wrong, or you can't make me do anything. How about you're stupid? Or what if you're saying that to yourself? Or what about the world should be different? Or who's to blame? There's so many of the things that be thinking like, where do I tend to fall within the victim, villain, hero? So here's some heroing for you. I'll handle it. Just let me do it. Or, oh, you poor thing. Or how about the avoiders? Let's just all get along. Let's not talk about this. All of these are in the hero. Or this is where you're seeking temporary relief. The key word being temporary. So I'm going to give you an example, because sometimes we hop and we bounce around in all of these different areas, right? So let's say I'm a mom, okay? I'm a mom of 3 teenagers. But I probably did this more when my kids were little. Let's be honest. Little kids can, that puts me more in the drama triangle. So, okay, I'm the victim. Why aren't my kids behaving? It's not fair. Everyone else's kids are acting just great. And then maybe I move into the villain, like, it's all your fault, Johnny. You need to shape up. Why are you acting like this? The world should be where little kids behave in all situations. Okay, it's all your fault. And then now I'm going to move to the hero. And just let me do it. I'll tie your shoe for you. We got to go. We're in a hurry. I'll just do it. So you see how I'm just like saving the day and I'm not actually empowering anybody. So we do this in so many different areas. We do this with money, like it's scarce. There's not enough of it. We do this with time, like I'm just so overwhelmed. I'm so busy, or maybe I'm so bored. All these things are in places in the drama triangle. Or even with our happiness, where it's based on pleasure, or it depends on the situation. It's not coming from within us. So what's the opposite? What's the above the line or growth mindset area, like Kat was explaining, of the drama triangle? So that's the empowerment triangle. So in the empowerment triangle, there's the creator at the top. And the creator is someone who sees their own power. They see power in others. They see possibilities. They see that they're in charge. They ask questions like, what do I want to create? Or you have the challenger. So this is the above the line version of the villain. The challenger really applies loving pressure to take action. They see that obstacles help me get better. Just like that poll question, right? I see what I could learn from it. And then there's the coach. And the coach invites self-empowerment in others. A coach is an equal on the road. It's not like I'm telling you what to do and you need to do it this way. A coach is someone who links arms together and says, I'm not perfect, you're not perfect. Maybe we can walk this road together. They ask questions. You can ask questions of yourself like, that's interesting how this situation that's happening. What can I learn? What can I look for? So there's a lot of different things that we can learn from the empowerment triangle versus the drama triangle. So I want to just take a minute and throw it to Kat. And Kat, can you think of any situations where you found yourself maybe in the drama triangle that can help people understand this concept just a little bit better?
Well, I can think of a lot of different circumstances, especially in the winter in Utah. I tend to find myself falling into this drama triangle often. And it's really funny because we let things affect us, like the weather, for example. And every time, these are real situations. I have a volleyball kiddo. I play volleyball, and I have a son who's playing, and his practices are at 5 in the morning. And every time he has a 5 a.m. practice, the night before, my younger kids will not go to bed. And I find myself just running the bases in this drama triangle. And I'm like, you guys, mom is, I find myself being the villain, yelling at them and telling them it's all their fault that mom's not in bed and I'm gonna be ornery tomorrow and I'm not gonna be able to get everything done. And then I find myself going, poor me, I can't even get any sleep and my sleep's not important and nobody cares about me. That's in the victim, right? And then the hero, I get into this space of, fine, I will just put everyone in bed and I will give you all melatonin and you will go to sleep. And then I get up in the morning and the weather's bad and it's, the roads are, you can just run the bases over and over in your life. And you can see like, why does it always have to snow on the days I have to get up early? And, why is it 9 degrees in the morning? That's just not human. But really, we just do this. We do in our lives so much. We just fall below the line and we just run the bases with this drama triangle. We go from place to place to place. And it's natural, you guys. But what we need to learn to do is pause. And this is where Stop, Challenge, Choose comes in, is we need to stop. We need to locate ourselves. Am I below the line? Am I willing to accept where I am? Yep, I sure am. It's 5 a.m. on Wednesday morning and I'm committed to living in the drama triangle, right? Or we can say, I don't like where I feel right now. I want to shift. So we can breathe and let it all go and then move. And this is what Amber's talking about with presence. So do you want to go ahead and give us more on this?
Yeah, for sure.
Awesome.
So really finding your presence is so important. But before we go over this, I actually want to bring on a friend of mine and fellow coach, Yella Sialua, to share a little bit about his story. Yella, can you take maybe like 3 or 4 minutes and share a little bit about your story with Optavia and your healthy body and healthy mindset?
Yeah, I'll go for it. As you can see in that picture there, I lost 90 pounds on program, but that was just the beginning of it. I don't know if you've ever, well, maybe just me personally, I was able to lose all that weight, but I still hated myself. Just because in my mind, I felt like I wasn't enough. And just throughout the Optavia journey, just being able to learn how to really love myself in my mind, learning emotionally, learning the things that trigger me as a person, as a father. I've struggled with addiction since I was 7 years old. And I have a 5-year-old son, and he, just a couple years ago, he would say, "Dad, I want to be just like you." And in my mind, I would think, "Son, you don't want to be like me. I don't know how to love myself. Please don't be like me." but I would never tell him that. But the good thing was, after all the growth and the learning and understanding how to really be healthy in my mind, just a few weeks ago, my son said, "Dad, I want to be like you." And for the first moment, I had that mind shift where I was just like, you know what? I've come a long way, and I've learned how to fall in love with myself again. And I was actually proud to be his father again. Just where I wasn't to where I am now, just so grateful to have a gift that I can share, because other people won't see how broken I am. They'll see my journey, my mindset change, and what I want to offer to others.
Oh my gosh, Yella, so powerful. I think so many of us can relate to a lot of the things that you said, that we're not perfect. And that's where we can all be in this community together. We can be imperfect people saying, how can we help each other? How can we improve? How can we inspire? So thank you so much for sharing your inspiring story, Yella. Sure appreciate you. Okay, so what do we do? What do we do about this? We find ourselves, something happens, and we drift below the line, and sometimes we drift far, right into victim, villain, and hero, right into the drama triangle. It's a lot more difficult to recover when we're just like way down in the depths. But you know what we can do is Dr. A has taught us something called stop, challenge, choose. When we find ourselves drifting below the line, that awareness is so key that Kat talked about. The awareness that where are we? Are we drifting? What do we want? Because it's not bad, it's not wrong if you're below the line. It's not right when you're above the line. But if you want to create a life, you want to be in that creator, empowered, that challenger, coach role. You like that feeling. You like to play there. Then you can say, okay, let me take a minute. Let me stop. Let me take a breath. Let me challenge the thoughts that aren't serving me. Let me challenge the way that I'm maybe coming at this. And then choose and say, do I want to shift? Do I want to be in that empowered role? Do I want to move to that empowerment triangle? And then do, if you would like to. Or don't, if you don't want to. But I'll tell you what, it is so much better to know where you're at, to say this is where I'm living, because it just gives you so much more power just to even locate yourself. So let's review. I like these questions that are in the life book. And if you haven't had a chance to do this, if you hadn't had a chance to go through this element and then debrief with a coach, remember the coach is in that empowerment triangle. Coach is someone who asks you questions. A coach is somebody who's on the road with you. So don't expect us to be perfect. But your coach can ask you, what does this element mean to you right now? What does it give you the opportunity to reflect on? What actions are you going to take as a result of this element? I think that gives us so much. So, okay, let's throw another poll out. How did you enjoy this community time tonight? So go ahead and rate. Excellent. Very good. Good, below average, or poor. You can be honest. I promise I will not track you down. But we want to bring you value with these Habits of Health community time. We want to help you to think a little bit more about what's going on in your life. We want to help you to move forward if that's what you want. We want to empower you. And just a plug, because a lot of times people don't know, how do I find the playbacks of this? So go ahead and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Click on subscribe. You can find all of our playbacks just on the Optavia YouTube channel. Leave a comment, leave some feedback on what you liked about that specific element or that specific community time. And also, you can find all of the playbacks just in our playlist. And just a plug for the podcast too. I absolutely love to listen back to the Habits of Health Community Time on podcasts while I'm driving or while I'm doing dishes or folding laundry. It's just so nice. It's a podcast that you can play for your whole family. You can have kids in the car. Some podcasts are not so kid friendly. This one is always kid friendly. It's good for your whole family. Sometimes I listen to this during dinner, but it's good for everybody to start working on their mindset. And so join us next week on the Habits of Health Community Time, which is going to be led by somebody that I think is amazing, Jared Smithson, who happens to be my husband. And his topic is My Brain Made Me Do It. We're going to dive in a little deeper to some more concepts in element form. So thank you for joining us tonight for the Habits of Health Community Time. We hope that we've brought you some value. We hope that we can help you move forward in your health and well-being.
At Optavia, our mission is to offer the world lifelong transformation, one healthy habit at a time. The prior audio contained the personal testimonials of independent coaches and clients within the Optavia community. Their results are based on the unique experiences of their journey. We cannot guarantee like or similar outcomes. We hope those stories inspire you to continue your journey with or to consider joining Optavia. But please note that they have not been verified and your individual journey to optimal health will vary. As always, it is our recommendation that you speak with a healthcare provider in the US or a doctor in Singapore and Hong Kong prior to beginning your journey with Optavia. Additionally, this audio may have contained income or earning representations of some independent Optavia coaches. We cannot guarantee financial success. Success with Optavia is derived from successful sales efforts, which require hard work, diligence, skill, persistence, competence, and leadership. Optavia acknowledges that this audio may be accessible to Optavia coaches in the US, Hong Kong, and Singapore. For independent Optavia coaches operating in the US, please see the Optavia Income Disclosure Statement for statistics on actual earnings of US coaches under the U.S. Compensation Plan. Please note that the Income Disclosure Statement only applies to independent Optavia coaches operating in the U.S. under the U.S. Compensation Plan and does not in any way constitute any representations as to actual or potential accrual of benefits for Hong Kong or Singapore coaches under the International Compensation Plan. Yours in health, the Optavia team.